Hello everybody, my name is Colin239, welcome back to another video. Today in this one it's going to be another tier list video, and in this one it's going to be on meta staples post August 2024 ban list, but pre Rage of the Abyss. I will have to put that out there because I do think Rage of the Abyss changes a lot about the format, especially when it comes to staple cards as well. So this tier list is only going to cover the format that's in between the ban list and the Rage of the Abyss, that 6-week format that we have. That's all September and like 2 weeks in October. So yeah, I do have to put that out there. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the tier list, shall we? So our categories is best main deck staples, best side deck staples, playable main deck staples, playable side deck staples, and then the garbage tier, because of course there's going to be some garbage staples as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first thing we'll start off with is Molt Chummy Purelia. So this is probably going to be in the best side deck staples. Now there are a couple decks in this format, especially something like Tempai, that obviously main deck this card, but for the most part 90% of the format is most likely just going to be side decking this card, just because it's really only good going second. It really doesn't do anything going first. Now, if we were talking about Rage of the Abyss, the new Molchummy that's coming out of Rage of the Abyss would be in the best main deck staples, but I think this one does belong in the best side deck staples. Now, obviously, again, Tempai is one of the decks that could main deck this card just because they are a going second engine, but that's because they're going second. So if you're not going second most of the time, then this is going to be a side deck staple just because you want it only when you want to go second. But again, a very powerful card nonetheless. Mind Control. This card's at 3. So the problem with these staples, and I will talk about this a lot when I'm talking about the staples tier list, is like, especially when it comes to the board breakers, there's not that many Omni Negates left in the format anymore. So I think this is still probably in playable side deck staples. I don't think it's one of the best side deck staples, but I do believe it is a playable side deck staple. For sure, it's a really good card, especially since it is at 3, so you can play 3 copies. Again, since there's not that many Omni Negates in the format, it's really, really good, but I think it's just not good enough. I think a Snatch Steal in this format, there's still a lot you still have to deal with, but I still think this is a very good card. I think it's going to be for sure in playable side deck as well. Anti-Spell Fragrance. So this card is still at 1, and I still think is one of the best side deck staples you can be playing. If you'll have like one extra slot for anything, I think Anti-Spell should be used as one of them, just because turning off spells is pretty big. Like, there's a reason why I think this card should have been banned, but they didn't do it. It's like, there's a reason why something like IO is banned. Yeah, for sure, this is one of the best side deck staples. Turns off spell traps and stuff like that. Again, it has to be a side deck because it's only really good going first. Doesn't really do anything going second. So yeah, for sure, best side deck staples. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Now, this is a card I've been hating on for the past couple months. So I still think it's one of the best main deck staples you could be playing, but I don't think it's necessarily that good. Now, I do believe it could be different coming into this format, just because Snake Eyes, like, since they have Ash and Poplar at 1 now, that does do a lot. So it makes it where Ash is a lot more impactful, but the fact that it's a fire makes it where Snake Eyes can still pretty much make a Hias, take your Ash, go into Promethean, and still play kind of thing. That's pretty rough. Again, this is one of those cards I've been hating on, but I still think it's a very, very, very good card. If you're going to play it, you're going to main deck it for sure. This is a very good main deck staple. But again, I don't think it's one of the best things in the world right now, but I still believe it should be in the best main deck staples for sure. Book of Eclipse. This is always a weird one. I feel like this is a rogue deck kind of pick right now. I think a playable main deck staple for sure. I think a lot of rogue decks, something like a Ritual Beast or something like that, could be main decking this card for sure. It's really, really good, especially, again, since there's not that many Omni Negates left in the format, just being able to go, okay, Book of Eclipse, all your guys, okay, I'm going to play my turn, and all you really have left is, because especially since Apollousa is banned as well, there's not really that many links you can make anymore that does something. Maybe like an IP is really the only thing left for that. So I think Book of Eclipse is, I think, probably going to become more popular, but I'm still going to put it in playable main decks. I don't think it's one of the best ones, but I still think it is playable for sure. Kaijus. I don't know. I mean, if you're really scared of Noir, sure, you can play this card, but it's a playable side deck option for sure, but I think there's better side deck options in this format, so I'm going to put it in playable. Again, if you're scared of Noir, yeah, then play this card for sure, but I still think there's more playable side deck options in this format, so I'm going to put this in. It's still playable, but I don't think it's one of the best in this format. The Bestial. So this is one of those things I don't know where to put it at. I think a lot of people are main decking the Bestials right now just because, again, it doesn't look like the Fiendsmiths are hit enough where people are still going to be playing the Fiendsmith package and stuff like that. Yugioh is expected to be one of the best decks in the format as well. So I think it's one of those things I don't know where to put it. A lot of people are main decking this card. So we can put it in probably one of like the best main deck staples. I'm going to put it in the best side deck staples. I still don't think it's there enough for me where it's worth main decking yet. Like, this is like best side deck staples going into playable main deck staples. Like, I still think this is very, very good, but I don't know. To me, I don't think it's enough of a high impact card. Again, it depends on the deck you're playing against as well. If you're playing like a branded, obviously this card's going to be insane, but if you're versing like Snake Eyes or Tempai or something like that, then this card or these cards aren't really going to be the greatest in the world. So I'm going to put it in best side deck staples, but obviously this can be a main deck as well for sure. Infinite Impermanence. I'm sorry, this is one of the best main deck staples in the format. If you don't have this card, you do need to pick it up. It's not too expensive. Maybe it is. I don't know. All these hand traps are, for some reason, always $5 and above. So, I don't know. This is probably the best main deck staple, for sure. Like, be able to activate it on your turn or your opponent's turn is very, very good. It plays around something like a triple tactic talents, which is very, very good in this format as well. I think, for sure, this is one of the best main deck staples that you do have to play. Called by the Grave. So this is, again, one of those cards I think if we're talking about post Rage of the Abyss, it becomes better. But as of right now, it's okay. I still think it's probably like a playable main deck staple for sure. Is it one of the, like, is there going to be decks that don't need this card? For sure. But again, if we're talking post Rage of the Abyss, this is different. But for this format specifically, I think this will be in a playable main deck staples. Dimensional Barrier. Don't know why the fuck they did not ban this card. This is one of the best side deck staples in the format. Shuts off something like a Ritual Beast, something like a Tempai gets turned off by this card. Like, obviously, this is going to be in, like, pretty much everyone's side deck for sure. So, don't know why they didn't ban this card. This card is fucking insane. Dominus Purge. One of the newer staple cards that we got from Infinite and Forbidden. Not that many decks can take advantage of this. I think it is a playable main deck staple. Again, it does depend on the deck you are playing because not all decks can play this card because it does lock you out of the attributes and stuff. But it's kind of in the same realm as Infinite Impermanence, where it's Ash Blossom, but as a trap card, so it plays around the talents and stuff like that. But again, not every deck can play this card, but I think it's still a pretty solid playable main deck staple for sure. Change of Heart. I do believe this is probably better than Mind Control just because you're able to do anything with it. You're able to attack with the card. You're able to do tribute with the card as well. This card is really, really good. Would I put it in the best side deck staples? It's all right. I think it's still very good. So I'll put it in best side deck staples. I think Mind Control is a little bit worse, even though it is at 3. I think Change of Heart is the better card, though. So yeah, for sure, best side deck staple for Change of Heart. Regeki. Oh my god, this card is coming back. Sorry about that little cut there. I accidentally refreshed the page and it fucked everything up. So we're back to where we were just at. So we were just talking about Regeki. So Regeki, oh my god, this card is insane. Holy shit, this card is coming back in format. Tempai players are obviously main decking this card because of how good it is. It's one of those cards, since there's not that many Omni Negates left in the format, this card has become really, really, really good. Now, the only deck that's really been taking advantage of it is something like a Tempai, where they're more likely going second and stuff like that. I'm going to put this in one of the best side deck staples, to be honest with you. The fact that there's not that many Omni Negates left in the format makes it where Regeki is pretty fucking insane right now. Like, the Desiree is the only, like, generic Omni Negate we have left in the game. So, yeah, I'm going to put this in one of the best side deck staples right now. So, yeah, Regeki for sure goes there. Dark Ruler No More. This is like slowly coming back. I still don't think it's that good. I'll put it in playable side deck staples, but again, I think there are just better options than Dark Ruler No More. It's always a good, like, it's a decent card, don't get me wrong, but the fact that you can't kill him the same turn you activate it, it's like, it's not that good. I don't think this card deserves to be any higher than that. Droll and Lockbird. So we're in a new format, and I always say early in new formats, Droll and Lockbird seems to be good, but the later we get into formats, the worse Droll and Lockbird does. I don't know. I think even with this format, I still don't think Droll is that good. right now. I'm going to put it in playable side deck staples. Again, I don't think it's worth main decking Droll and Lockbird at all. Sure, it maybe hits some of the rogue decks, but that's why you would put it in the side deck instead of main decking it. So yeah, for sure, playable side deck card. Again, still a very good card, but I don't know. I think it's just in a playable side deck option. Dark Hole. So this is kind of the same point as something like a Regeki. I think it's a little bit worse just because Dark Hole does hit both players' fields and Regeki does not. So like I'm gonna put Dark Hole in playable side deck options, but I think the Regeki is probably just a little bit better. Cosmic Cyclone, again, I think this is one of the best side deck staples right now, just because it's cosmic, it hits like the runic matchups. It's good going into like game 2s and game 3s because of something like people putting in floodgates and shit like that. This makes it where you can out it. Very, very good card. I think it's one of the best side deck staples out in the format right now. Forbidden Droplet. I think this is in playable main deck staples. This is a very, very good card. Again, not every deck's going to take advantage of something like a Forbidden Droplet, but I still think Droplet is a very insane card right now. Very much in the playable main deck staples for me, for sure. We still have a lot to talk about, so I'll kind of speed through here. Cross Out Designator. This is kind of in the same situation as Called by the Grade right now, where if we're talking about post Rage of the Abyss, this would be a lot higher. But since we're talking about pre, I don't know. I think this card is only really playable in Snake Eyes. I don't think any other deck can really play it. I'll put it in playable main deck staples, but I think only really one deck can play it, and that's like Snake Eyes. Everything else pretty much side decks it. So yeah, I'm going to keep that there. Super Polymerization has fallen off hella. Oh my god, this card is not the greatest in the world. I think still a very insane card, but just not that many decks can take advantage of it. I think it's a playable side deck staple for sure, but you have to have the extra deck space for this as well. So I don't know. I don't think Super Poly is the greatest in the world right now. Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. It's not the greatest. Like, I'll put it in playable main deck staples because it does have its interactions in this format, but I think there's just better options like the Bestials that do better than what Ghost Bell can do. So yeah, we're gonna put Ghost Bell in playable main deck staples. Enemy Controller. I'm gonna put it in garbage. It's still a very good card. It's a quick play spell that can tribute a card to take a monster. But the fact that we have Mind Control and Change of Heart legals in the formats now, I think this just becomes worse, especially since you do have to tribute that monster to do it. So yeah, pretty garbage for me in this list. Summon Limit is banned, so ignore that. This was made before it got banned, so this is in garbage. Feather Duster is for sure in, I would say, the best side deck staples. Again, it's still a very good card. It's at 1 for a reason, destroying all spell traps, especially if we're expecting something like a Labyrinth to come back in the format, and we're still expecting like Floodgates and stuff like that. I think Feather Duster is very much still one of the best side deck staples you can be playing right now. DD Crow, I mean, it's like in the same situation as Ghost Bell. Like, it does have its applications and stuff like that, but I think the Bestials are just better. So I would put it in playable main deck staples, but like after that, I don't think it's really the greatest in the world. DDG, this is probably like in playable side decks. A lot of people were playing this when Beatrice was legal because they can dump like Angel of Blue Tears and then banish the blue tears to set the DDG, but you can no longer do that since Beatrice and Lacrima are now banned. So I'll put it in playable side decks. This is maybe for like a thrust target, and that's about it. So that's my opinion on that. Book of Moon. Yeah, this is also in garbage tier. Yeah, I think Book of Eclipse is just so much better than what Book of Moon can do. Only like Plunder can really take advantage of Book of Moon, and that's like it. Evenly Matched, I think this is probably in, again, one of those situations where there's not that many Omni Negates left in the format. I think this is like maybe, I wouldn't say it's the best side. I'll put it at the top of playable side decks. This is like playable main deck. Like, this is a playable main deck card for sure, depending on like Labyrinth can main deck this card. Is like, this is a very good card. I don't know. I'll put it at playable side decks. Evenly is a really good card. I just don't think it's one of the, you know what? I'll put it at the top of the, or the bottom of the best side deck staples. Evenly Matched, I think, has that potential to be there for sure. Triple Tactic Thrust is for sure a playable side deck staple as well. I think my camera might be blocking this off. Let me reduce my camera just a bit. There we go. I'm a little smaller, but you can see the best side deck staple still. So Thrust, again, one of those cards that can search out basically any of these staple cards that we're talking about right now. Again, I still think it's a side deck option. There are some decks that can main deck this card, but I think it's probably one of the best side deck options as well. Dino Wrestler Pinkertops. I think this card's fucking insane, but it's probably only playable side deck staples. Again, I think the card's insane, but it's probably just because I'm going to locals with it. Probably like when it comes to like regionals and YCS, it's probably not the best in the world, but I do love this card a lot. Contact C, just don't. I'm sorry, pretty garbage. Fuck, this card is, yeah, like really, really bad. Don't play this card at all. Effect Veiler, probably in the best main deck staples for sure as well. It's the same situation as Infinite Impermanence. I do think Imperm is better than Veiler, but Veiler is still a very good option in this format as well. Kurikara Divine Carnage. Yeah, this is like with the Kaijus. I think it's worse than the Kaiju. So this is like a playable side deck, but I honestly don't think it's the greatest in the world. If you're going to play something like this, play like the Kaijus or even like a Lava Golem in that situation instead. But again, it's all right. Phantasme. This is weird. I think this is one of the better side deck staples in the format. I don't like this is like could even be like a main deck potential as well. Yeah, that's where I'm going to put Phantasme. I think Phantasme is a really, really good card, especially going into this next format. It's really, really good. So yeah, I'm actually gonna keep it there. I'm like questioning myself on it. Nah, we'll keep it there. I like that a lot. Dimension Shifter. Yeah, this is for sure best main deck staples for sure. If your deck can play Shifter, you're playing Shifter. That's the only problem with Shifter is not every deck can play Shifter, but like this card is really dumb. I really thought they should have hit this card in the last list and they didn't. So yeah, we're gonna put this in best main deck staples for sure. Shifter is fucking insane. Gamma. The only problem with Gamma is it's limited. That's the one problem. Like, this is a good hand trap, but it's limited. So that's what kind of makes it the problem, because you have to play the Breaking Driver. I'll put it in playable side deck, maybe, but that's pretty much the highest it can go for me, just because it is at 1. Triple Tactic Talents, another best main deck staples. This card is fucking insane. Again, one of those cards I could have seen being hit in the last list as well, but of course they didn't do that. But yeah, this card's fucking insane. Going first or going second, it's either, you know, look at your opponent's hand, or it's a Snatch Steal, or it's a Pot of Greed. Like, it's very, very good. I think this card is insane. One of the best main deck staples you could be playing. Castria Fenrir. This is probably in like playable main deck for sure. I think this is a really, really good card. I think it's been power crept, or not power crept, but it's dropped off a little bit because there's just better staple cards in the format right now. But I think this is a playable main deck for sure. Impulse, I love you so much. I really do, but you are like top of garbage for sure. I think Phantasme does what you do, but better. Again, Impulse is for very specific decks, something where you want to get the cards to graveyard instead, but you do, like, I don't know, like, it's cool. We're going to put it at the bottom of playable side decks. I think this card is really, really cool, but I think Phantasme is just the better option. Lightning Storm, I think this is the better version of Harpy's Feather Duster, just because it can hit the monsters as well. Very, very good. Again, something like Tenpai is main decking this card as well, but Tenpai is kind of a niche thing because they're going second deck while every other deck is probably trying to go first. So Lightning Storm, very, very good, deserves to be in best side deck staples. Marionette Might, this is one of those things, like there's other cards like this as well, but yeah, this is very much garbage as well. Snatch Steal, another card that's, you know, a Change of Heart card. I think this belongs with something like a Mind Control. It's a playable side deck staple for sure, but this has a lot more interaction with it, so I'm actually going to put it lower than Mind Control, because if they get rid of the Snatch Steal, then they get the monster back. So yeah, for sure in playable side deck staples. Tikaboo, this is with this in Rivalry. I'll count this. This is for sure in the best side deck staples, this and Rivalry of Warlords. And fuck it, we'll put Skill Drain with this. Goes and Match isn't on here, but Goes and Match is pretty much the same thing as these two cards as well. If you're able to play this cards in your deck and you don't get hurt by it, you're for sure playing this without a doubt. You're not going to main deck it. Some people might main deck it, but you're for sure going to side deck it. And then Skill Drain, it's still Skill Drain. Yes, it did just get limited, but it's still Skill Drain. Like, it's very, very good. It's a for sure best side deck staple as well. Herald, this is like the, again, if you're scared of Noir, play this, but I think this is probably an unplayable side deck. This is kind of the same situation with the Kaijus, but a little bit, it's a little better. I don't know. I think this card is, it's all right. It's a playable side deck staple for sure. And then Nibiru, the Primal Being, this is where this gets a little weird, because now Apollousa is banned, so Nibiru probably gets a little bit better, but there's still, you know, the Fiendsmiths that are making the DDD and stuff like that. I'm going to put this in best main deck staples. I think it's probably the worst one out of the bunch that we have here. I think Valor probably goes a little bit lower as well. But I still think it's a very good main deck staple for sure, just because, again, Apollousa is no longer in the format, so it's a lot harder to play around this card. Now, sure, the DDD does exist, but, again, Nibiru, I think, can go very hard in this next format for sure. So that is my tier list. I kind of sped up because I knew I was kind of taking forever there. So best main deck staples, for sure, Imperm, Ash, Shifter, Talents, Valor, and Nibiru. These are the best cards you can be playing in this format, in my opinion. Then the best side deck options, you got the Bystials, you got the Mulchummies, you got Regekis, and then you have like the Lightning Storms and stuff like that. And then obviously the Floodgates, because they're Floodgates as well. There's the playable main deck cards like Fenrir, Book of Eclipse, Droplet, and like the Dominus Purge, but it depends on what the decks you're playing. Not every deck is going to be able to play those cards. Playable side deck options, like if you're playing like on a budget, this does make sense for you, but like I think there are better side deck options in this format. And then garbage, Econ, yeah, for sure. Book of Moon, yeah, for sure. Contact C, there's just so many links in the format that this card is garbage. Marionette I always thought was bad, so yeah, fuck this card. And then Summon Limit, it's banned, so ignore Summon Limit there. So yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe, more content on the channel, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.